Some mornings you wake up and it's a different kind of morning. Some days the sun shines a little brighter. Some days are special days. You know why, and you can't wait to be a part of it. 259 off-season days. 4,458 transactions. 224 drafted players. 848 rostered players. 256 trades. 500 winning auctions. 40 shows. 143 articles. 1 dolphin rate video. 16 weeks. 512 games. 12 contenders. 11 playoff games. 1 champion. You've waited all of 2015 for this day. The quest for the 2015 championship is at hand. Who will be crowned champion? Welcome, gentlemen, to the second season of the XFF, where only the best come to play. XFF, what is up? And welcome to Rippin' and Tearin' Kickoff Show. We will be standing all episode long. You should be standing. No, you should be sitting. I don't give a shit what you're doing. Finally, football is back. It is back. Can you feel it? Can you feel the electricity in the air? We are just 72 hours away. All the planning, all the trading, the cap management, the drafting, the back and forth with your rivals is about to culminate in a triple header week 1 matchup. 3 games in 1 week. 3 games in 1 week. Think about that. How are you going to do when you're 0-3, 3-0, or something in the middle? We are here. The 2015 XFF season is about to begin. Time for talk is done. Now the trash talk, that better go ahead and kick up. You need to be on your feet. No, wait a minute. I already told you, sit down, drink a beer, enjoy the show. I'll be on my feet. It is time for the rivalries to renew. It is time for the rivalries to be born. 7 new managers. I'm sorry, Adam, I always forget about you. 8 new managers. Now, I want to start this show off with a bang. But something has been missing from this opening. Let's get that out of the way.
Time to murder it!
There will be no first things first because this is the only piece of the segment that matters. AFC, NFC, on your feet. I keep saying that and I want you to sit on your goddamn feet. AFC, NFC, fighting out of the blue corner, weighing in at one humiliating loss, represented by Philly John in some show sometime that may or may not ever happen. What, you don't think he should be representing you? It doesn't matter what you think. The NFC. Boo! And in the Reds corner, representing the AFC, he is the Mad Northman. He is the shocker from Southern California, the Ragin' Raven, the man who won't stop and shut up even if you paid him. Hell Raven. NFC. Here is the reason why the AFC takes it again this year. You know what? I take that back. Because Sully and Schwarzenegger, first things first, I promised to kill you last, NFC, but I lied.
Remember, Sally, when I promised to kill you last? That's right, Major. You did. I lied.
NFC, the AFC takes it for the following reasons. A, our teams are a billion times more active than yours. Maybe there's a little more trust in between teams. Maybe we really hate each other all that much more and we think we're getting over on the other guy. But we're a million more times active. Kamish called it out and he knows it. And you guys are throwing up on yourselves. Number 2, our champion is about to be under our boot. And as hungry as you are, the 15 of us have had to live with him for the last 259 off days in our division. Conference, yeah, there we go. Our shows are higher rated than your shows. Can you say rippin' and tearin' XFF flagship roller coaster? That's right, Kamish. I said it. There are clearly, this is proof, a higher percentage of maniacs over here in the AFC than there are in the NFC. Our Andrew Luck is better than your Andrew Luck. 50% of our conference believes they can win. The other 50% believe they can beat NFC ass. The NFC has Buccaneers. The AFC has Raiders. The NFC has Cardinals, Seahawks, and Eagles. We have Ravens, bringers of death. The NFC has Redskins. We have Chiefs. The NFC has Cowboys. We have the whole friggin' state. Yeah, that's right. The Texans. The NFC has 49ers and Saints. We have Patriots and Steelers. The NFC has Vikings and Giants. We have Titans. The NFC has Falcons. Yay, Falcons! We have Jet with heat-seeking missiles. No need for talons. We are obsessed with the championship. The AFC boasts 8 legit contenders. Past Philly, who you got, NFC? Really, who can you guys openly say has a chance? And the creme de la creme. We are Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, woo! CM Punk, Christian, the British Bulldog, Mr. Perfect, the NWO, one half of the Dudley Boys, Batista, DDP, Kurt Angle, Jake the Snake Roberts, and the champ, John Cena. All you guys got is an angry old white guy yelling at everyone, telling them that they're fired, and a runner-up who gutted his team. You guys got an analyzer monster who's one caramel cookie away from a freaking coma. A metrics guru who doesn't know the difference from a 40-yard dash and the Katati crawl. Your ref eats asbestos while sitting in his 4 walls knowing he never should have shit on Khan, because now he knows he's in the frickin' Ravens crosshairs. Do any of you know Will, the NFC's 4th weakest team? You know San Diego Chris. Sure, he's the AFC's doormat, but he's got spine. Do you know the Militant Lumberjack, Detroit? Spit and fire? I'll pass the mic to the Dolphin Raper himself before I trust Detroit to represent my division. Green Berry? Huh, don't you mean green trash? The NFC better go ahead and start a side pot, because the only thing you guys are winning this year is the NFC Championship. The 2015 XFF Championship comes home to the AFC. Stays home. I don't even know. Does it have a home? Yeah, it does. Currently, it's residing in New York. Coming to Baltimore. Yeah! 58% of the league only has one thing to say to you, NFC. Suck it! The other 48% is, or 42%, because I'm good at math, is working on their championship roster. Judges, how do you see this fight? Should Philly John even respond? Oh, the NFC's face, it's over. That's how I imagine Jaw. He's so proud of El Raven.
He is a legend of war. A soldier without a country. You know his name. And you know what he's capable of.
I was told it might be possible to rent your boat. We need to get upriver.
Where?
Into Burma.
Burma's a war zone.
Up the Salween River is our best alternative.
I can't help you out.
Please, that will help change people's lives.
Are you bringing in any weapons?
Of course not.
You're not changing anything.
everyone knows.
You know what you are, what you're made of.
Miss Cobra, oh come on Cobra. It is not King Cobra and not Speeding Cobra. And he cannot to pay and to show me the Speeding Cobra.
War is in your blood. When you're pushed, killing's as easy as breathing. Live for nothing, or die for something. Your call.
One of the XFF premier teams, GM's brain has been stolen, left in the wake of the crime, a soulless, rudderless team making poor trade decisions. The victim, Indy Dan. The mastermind behind the kidnapping, unknown. The players, 3 of the greatest TV heroes of all time. They'll solve the crime. XFF, let's go retro! This week on an all-new Magnum PI, Magnum takes his role in finding Dan's brain super serious as he throws 3 hot models in his Ferrari, ending up at Lucas Oil Stadium, Hawaii location, which is just a tar pit filled with the bodies of high draft picks. After an impromptu oil wrestling match between the models, he finds the first clue, a top hat. Using a Tom Selleck voiceover, Magnum explains to us the only place they sell those types of hats is on one location on the island. TC picks Magnum up in his chopper because that's what TC does, and within minutes they locate the small town where they produce such hats. But the town is garrisoned by a band of militant Muppets. They're gonna need a team, an A team. To be continued.
You are now tuned in to the world's greatest.
Tonight is the night, bright lights, high crowd, yeah we need to throw down, everybody get loud. Tonight is the night, A-list can't miss, when we burn it to the ground, everybody get down. Tonight is the night, we stay running while our
XFF, welcome back to the Rippin' and Tearin' Kickoff Show. Man, this has been a ton of fun so far. We've had crane kicks, Muppet kidnappings, a Superman intro speech. It can't get any better than this. Oh wait, yes it can, because El Raven's just getting started. You better be sitting with your feet up, drinking a beer, just ready to go ahead and blow a load, because I'm about to. Whoa, that is TMI. Different show. I'm standing, you're drinking, it's Sunday day drinking. Get ready, because football season's right around the corner. I'm ready for my next rant. So, you better sit down because it's going to blow your fucking head off. We talked AFC versus NFC, and that is over. It is over. John, don't even respond. You can't come back. I actually have faith in you, buddy, but you can't. Now, let's go ahead and talk about your plan. Your individual plan. You, one of the 32 GMs of the XFF. What are you going to do if you end up 0-3, 0-5, 0-7? Are you going to go ahead and fold? Because guess what, buddy? 1-6, 2-5, even 3-4 is not that much better. What are you going to do? Are you going to stop fighting? Are you going to roll over like we saw last year? Are you going to be the red carpet for one of these strong teams to go ahead and attain the XFF championship? I will not. I will go down in flames. And I know there's many of you that hope I go down in flames. And if I go down in flames, I'm going down in flames with this team. I will not feed you any of my young talent. I will not send you any of my strong veterans. Won't do it. Can't do it. Can't wait to go ahead and be a spoiler if that's the role I have to take. You should be thinking the exact same thing. You will not go ahead and be a red carpet for these teams. If you start thinking about rebuilding for 2016, then you're at least 2 years off already. You need to stay the course. Brad, if your shit fails, are you really going to go ahead and trade away some of your young studs to Denver or the Jets or Indy? Spencer, you're not going to be any good this year. Get ready for 0-something. Are you going to go ahead and stay your course, which you currently are passionate about, or are you going to let all the voices outside get inside your head? Luke, the analysis monster. Are you going to panic if you start 0-5 again this year? You going to go ahead and trade off those great players that you think that you picked up? Kamish, if you go 8-8, you might as well be 0-16. What are you going to do if your plan fails? Are you guys going to go ahead and feed Nils all your young talent and picks to go ahead and make him stronger? Because he's definitely thinking next year. Or are you going to put the boot to his neck and bury him and that dog shit team and make him pick 10th? Or are you going to go ahead and keep feeding him first round picks so that he can go ahead and load up? Because they may not be very good this year, but he's definitely looking at 16 and 17. What about you, Mark? You're a real popular choice for the AFC. You going to go ahead and blow that team up if you start out 0-5? Will you fire sale that team? Ron, 58% of your team wants to be traded. They want to be traded. Will you oblige? Percy, you've been vetting that team for a year. Will you really sell off your team? Okay, maybe that wasn't a very good example. Percy probably should start selling off his team. You guys start hitting Percy up. He needs to move on from that. Do not be a red carpet. Do not waver from your plan. And do not make a champion out of somebody unless they pay dearly. You make them pay. We are at a point of the season where you will make them pay or they will get nothing and you will put the boot to their neck. I feel so strongly about this particular topic. Well, I went and I did a goddamn speech. So sit back and listen to this. There's been a lot of talk about half the league or more that's not going to be competitive this year. About how their season is over before it began. Well, I don't know what to say, really. 3 days until the biggest fantasy football battle of our professional lives. It all comes down to the next 16 weeks. Now, either you heal as a GM or you will crumble. Inch by inch, player by player, until all but one are finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me. And we can stand pat, get the crap kicked out of us, or we can fight back into the playoffs. We can climb out of the Jets' shadow. One player at a time. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm too drunk. I look around, I see all these young franchises, and I think, why not you? I mean, I've made every wrong choice a middle-aged fantasy football GM can make. I pissed away all my draft picks, believe it or not. I chased off anyone who ever tried to help me. And lately, I can't even stand the face I see in the mirror. You know, when you get too many six-packs in you, things start to get blurry. I mean, that's part of the problem right there. But you only learn that when you start losing year after year. You find out life is a game of beer pong. So is fantasy football. Because in either game, beer pong or fantasy football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 bounce too late or too early, you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow or too fast, you don't quite trade it. The players we need are all around us. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every six-pack. On this team, we fight for that player. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone around us to pieces for that one player. We claw with our fingernails for that player. Because we know when we add up all those players, that's going to make the friggin' difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this. In any fight, it's the guy who's willing to sacrifice who's going to win that player. And I know if I'm going to have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and drink for that player. Because that's what fantasy football is. The 6 starters in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You got to look at the team next to you. Look into his eyes. Do you see a guy that will go that extra step? Do you see a guy who will sacrifice himself for that championship? Because he knows when it comes down to it, you're better than him. That's a GM of the XFF, gentlemen. Either you fight for 16 weeks or you will always be a doormat of the league. That's fantasy football, guys. That's all it is. Now, what are you going to do?
Sweated blood for these men. Given up my wife, my children for these men. I've given up everything I have for these men. Game is all that matters to me. Cause it's pure. It's safe. Life isn't.
Any given Sunday, a legend will fall.
I need you to lead this team.
Tony, I'll be there for you.
I am not re-signing a $7 million a year, 39-year-old quarterback, no matter how great he was.
Cap helped build this franchise, which you benefited from.
Don't you give up on me.
You're like a son to me, Cap. I'll fight for you till the day I die.
Any given Sunday, a hero will rise.
Make me a believer!
And on any given Sunday, tradition will be broken.
He's changing the plays. Just does what he likes.
You run the plays, I call.
I've been warming the bench the whole time I've been in the pros. I don't plan on going back. I am QB. You're a king in your own mind.
He may sell a lot of t-shirts, this kid, but he's tearing this team apart.
Well, then you hold it together.
Knock it off!
Why the hell do you think my father put me in charge, a bullheaded moron? You got old. No intensity. no victory. Where the hell is your intensity, Tony?
Any given Sunday, life is a contact sport.
This guy just don't want to win, you know. He wants to bury you, he wants to humiliate you. He wants to prove to the whole world that it was nothing but some kind of a freak the first time out.
Rocky, his whole life was a 1,000,000-to-1 shot, but he's about to show the world he's 1 in a million.
Why don't you stand up and fight this guy hard like you done before? That was beautiful.
Rocky 2, the story continues.
I was wondering if you wouldn't mind marrying me very much.
I do.
Thanks.
The love continues.
You're the best thing ever come that crazy life.
The courage.
The doctor said you shouldn't fight anymore.
You recommended I don't fight, and I recommend that I do.
The challenge.
I want all of America, I want the whole world to see me destroy this man after 2 short rounds.
Rocky, do you think you have a chance this time against Apollo?
I don't know, it looks pretty mad.
The hope.
I never asked you to stop being a woman, you know. Please, don't ask me to stop being a man.
The tears.
He's gonna get hurt because of you.
Well, if he goes blind, you walk away. I can't. I'm loving you.
The joy.
He's really yours? Adrian, I can't believe you've done this.
The pain.
Don't worry about nothing. You just sleep as long as you want, okay? I'm gonna be here when you wake up.
The struggles.
You go back to being a two-bit nut.
The dreams.
I think we ought to knock his block off.
Absolutely.
15 rounds for the heavyweight championship of the world.
I think you're going to see a real great battle in every sense of the word.
That's what this fight is going to be. It's going to be a war.
You're going down, man. You're going down.
The most electrifying rematch in motion picture history. Rocky 2, starring Sylvester Stallone, Talia Shire, Burt Young, Carl Weathers, and Burgess Meredith. Rocky 2, the story continues.
When we last left our manhunt, Magnum and TC had located a compound run by militant Muppets in order to infiltrate the town. He calls in the A-Team. Hannibal devises a plan to steamroll the compound with a truck made of Spam sporting a V8 engine. Armed with illegal shiny AK-47s, their plan goes awry as soon as they get within 100 feet of the compound. A security paddling team of very hungry Samoans, armed with bread and coconuts, hoard the Spam truck of death, eating it to pieces before the barricade is broken. Taken prisoner and thrown into the same dungeon as Dan's brain, the A-Team waits for the worst to be concluded. All right, welcome back to the show. I am very excited to go ahead and have 1/3 of the commissioner's show here, a man who lives in infamy, GM and owner of the Houston Texans. Al, you are a brand new dad to a baby girl named London. How's that working out for you this morning?
Hey, it's been an action-packed day. Got to the hospital up at 3 a.m. Got to the midwife center 5 a.m. Baby was here at 8. And we got discharged at 2. And took my nap, and I'm recharged and ready to go. Here at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. And you and I were kind of chatting about it off air earlier, and you were saying that there's tennis and golf players in the family. So I'm wondering, is London going to be up for the Extreme Fantasy Tennis 2033 draft? We're gonna have
Her dad played D3 tennis, so she has good pedigree.
we're gonna have to get commission on the extreme fantasy tennis route. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into some recent events here. The Jacksonville Jaguars, Nate, has been giving you some grief. So I went back and I listened to his show, and I listened to your guys' most recent show, and I did a little research here. In 2014, you were a 7-9 team, and he was a 5-11 team. And you said on the commish show that the Jacksonville Jaguars aren't really even on your radar. And so I looked and I see that both you guys were 4-2 in the division and 1-1 against each other. So I guess my question to you is if the Jacksonville Jaguars aren't on your radar, are you sleeping on someone who could take you down?
Oh, I'm comatose. I'm limp. Give me the smelling salt because
Oh my God.
all my senses are gone in Jacksonville. I am definitely out of it. And trust me, well, you know, the good thing is we meet each other in week 1. So week 1, welcome to the Terradome. It will be destruction. No need for a prediction. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Welcome to the Terradome.
He's critical of your on-air personality too, which I personally I don't get. So I was just wondering if you had anything to say to 1/3 of the Muppets, Grizzly Adams himself. Anything about Grizzly Adams, man, Dollar Shave Club. You know, I mean, the Educated Guesses crew. I mean, they're a very animated trio. Anything you want to say to him before you go slip into your coma?
Well, you know, I've started to realize that there's an affinity there. You know, that's a secret level right there. He knows it's a division foe. So you have to find a way to, you know, either try to throw me off my game, but that's not possible, not humanly possible. But once again, week 1, XFF football open week. Jacksonville has the great opportunity to see the Houston Texans live up front, up close and in color. So all the dead retreads, the old running backs, the antique show that I have over here in Houston, trust me, there will be a stampede. Be on the lookout.
Okay, now I'm going to skip ahead. I was going to save this question for a little later, but since you're talking about week 1, you open with Indy, Atlanta, and Jacksonville. And then week 2, you got Carolina and Tennessee. And then in week 3, you have the Saints and Tampa Bay. I have 3 of those teams, Atlanta, Carolina, and Tampa Bay, as some of the worst teams in this league. So I want to know what's your record after the first 3 weeks, and who out of those teams do you feel poses the most problems to you?
I foresee a clean sweep.
7-0?
We're 7-0. We called it. We're looking to go undefeated. Looking to knock out 3 of the division rivals off the top, and that's the position we want to be in this year. This year is going to be unique. It's definitely going to be a unique year. There was a 1-year learning curve to get to understand the systems, the score settings, and how you need to formulate or create that team in order to be successful. I think we have what we need. And basically, when I looked over the different rosters, there's so many gaping holes that I think in order for some teams to be competitive, you're going to need some superhuman weeks like Odell Beckham type numbers going through the season in order for some teams to be even competitive. So I'm going for the clean sweep, 7-0. I think if you had asked me in the preseason, I might have said Carolina would have been a foe, but Carolina has definitely changed since the team that was represented in the XFL championship last year. So I'm calling it clean sweep.
Okay, so I have you looked at your roster lately? They're a clean sweep?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, because
line by line, we look at every position, line by line.
Okay, until you double reverse raped Tennessee, which is something we're going to get to in a little bit too. You had Derek Carr, which I actually was fine with you going into with Derek Carr into the season. So you're starting Brady. Arian Foster is out. I'm guessing you're starting Alfred Blue, which they're saying he ain't doing too good. Frank Gore, Marshawn Lynch, and then who you running? Jeremy Maclin, Pierre Gasson, Harry Douglas, Ruben Randall.
We're going Garcon. We're going Macklin for sure. And that third spot, where it looks like Denard Robinson might be starting over there in Jacksonville week 1. So Blue, it's going to be a toss-up Blue, but we may be leaning to Denard Robinson. But we're also not going to forget Mr. Danny Woodhead, because also Mr. Gordon is looking like he's having some issues with his blocking, his blocking protection.
Gordon is having no issues.
Right now.
There are no issues with Gordon.
Woodhead's a third down back, and he can put up numbers and catch a lot of passes in no time, because that's going to be Philip Satan there. So we have some options at that third spot. So, but definitely we're going to Garcon, Macklin, Marshawn, Gore, and possibly Denard or Woodhead. Remains to be seen. But you never know. Sunday morning I might decide to throw it out for Blue. That's the good thing. We have options.
I liked it when you had Peterson. Pierre Garcon has a hell of a quarterback situation over there. 2,000 yards is probably the bottom floor for him. Macklin with Alex Smith. I mean, I guess they're probably determined to go ahead and throw a touchdown to a wide receiver this year. So we'll see about that. 7-0 XFF. You heard it here on the Rippin' and Tearin' Kickoff Show. 7-0 Houston Texans. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk trades here a little bit. Everyone loves trades, all right? Now, you've been called out as one of the hardest teams to get a deal done with. So I went and I looked, because every time you send me something, it's like old rotten eggs. I'm just like, no, this isn't happening. So I looked, and you've gotten deals done since March 9th with the Broncos, the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Cleveland Browns. We all know about that one. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Indianapolis Colts. And four times with the AFC South Division champion Tennessee Titans. So I want to kind of talk about that, because it feels like Tennessee was the division champion and you were number 2. And if I'm the division champion, I'm feeding nothing to the guy who's directly behind me, because he's the closest to taking me down in my mind. And he's really giving you some quality players, some quality draft picks. And I just want to know, like, what is a typical conversation between the two of you? Like, how are you pulling this off? Because he's not an easy guy to get deals done with either.
Well, in my opinion, Tennessee might be the easiest team I've worked with to get deals done. Because I think we have an understanding. First of all, the process that goes into our trading, we'll connect to the message board. Hey, send me this person, and then that gets the negotiations going. And there's just all the deals that we've got completed started with just blitzes, just straight back and forth. Trade sent, I get the email notification, I look, counter, accept, or whatever, and it's just going back and forth. And then ultimately, it comes down to a trade that we can agree on, but there's usually 1 or 2 minor adjustments that we look, and it's up to whoever has the ball in their court, making that their determination whether or not do I want a third pick instead of a fourth, or do I want to move this person, so on and so forth. So I think dealing with Tennessee has been the easiest, in my opinion. And it's like he knows what he wants. He's aggressive, and I'm also aggressive as well. So, and that's a good thing. So when you say I have the perception of being pretty much difficult, I know what I want, and I know what the value is, and I'm not going to overpay for a person, even though you covet the person. You feel like this is God's greatest gift to your team. If I don't see that person as such, I'm not going to bite. That's just not going to do that. And oftentimes, sometimes I like to give me a day to think about a deal. Sometimes you may send a trade, and if I don't reject it outrightly, oftentimes that means I'm evaluating, maybe looking at my team to see how the team's going to look afterwards. Or even sometimes I like the deal, and I'm trying to work out a third or fourth option to really make the deal work. So, sometimes you just need time.
Okay. All right. And, you say that he knows what he wants. Well, I think he wanted Adrian Peterson, then he didn't want Adrian Peterson, then he wanted Adrian Peterson again. And you made out like a bandit on that deal.
See, the healthy Arian Foster, which was much cheaper. So you can, and also he had other pieces we sent to him, wide receivers, so on and so forth. So he was able to establish more depth with the team. Once that injury went down, in the next couple of days with Arian Foster, he set out to pull trades off with other teams in order to shore that up. So he went and got Alfred Blue and some other things. But that changed the landscape of the team, because now you're going into the season without the clear-cut number one. You're having to rely on the number two. So, and there's probably also some buyer's remorse there, because dude, you just got rid of Adrian Peterson. The league is ripping you. Every freaking show is ripping you. So now you feel this pressure, and he came back and said, "Hey, what can I get Adrian Peterson?" What? I'm like, Adrian Peterson, you just traded him. You didn't want him. But when I looked at the compensation he put on the table, I said, well, maybe we can negotiate something, because this deal looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was definitely sweet, which rolls into, the next question is, you traded away all of your draft picks. You had almost no draft picks in 2014. And off air, you and I had kind of talked about the value of those draft picks. We heard D. Jordan kind of go reverse on something that Philly John and many of the other guys in the league have been saying about, hey, you got to have veteran talent. Screw the drafted guys that you don't know anything about. And it feels like you're kind of reversing course on that as well, kind of coming around to the thought that you've got to have a nice mix of draft talent. So how are you preparing for 2015 already this year? Because it looks like you're stacking the picks up pretty good.
Well, the reason, not that I've reversed course, because let me get that, let me set that record straight, because as soon as I traded Adrian Peterson, there was an overwhelming response to certain offers sent my way, and I think the overwhelming feeling was that I was kind of not tanking the season, but maybe looking to go backwards. I'm not aggressively putting an all-hands-on-deck approach, so therefore, other teams are trying to pilfer some of my great talent. So they were thinking maybe at this point he's just looking to rebuild. So I just want to put that out there. Houston is not in a rebuilding form. We're just getting showing up some holes that we had. Definitely bringing in Brady, brought another solid quarterback option just in case Derek Carr gets off to a slow start. Because we know what the defending Super Bowl champs are going to do. And at any time with this whole ruling behind him now, I think he's going to come out on fire. So we're definitely ready for Brady to take the helm week one, possibly. Not going to throw that out there, who's going to clear the start. But secondly, to answer your question, last year, I think one of the biggest mistakes I made was trading my pick early in the rookie draft. On the rookie draft, me and myself and Tennessee trade swapped first round picks. Well, in my mind, I'm like, dude, I'm going to the playoffs, so therefore my pick would have been a high or a low number first round pick, and I'm really like, okay, what am I going to do with it for a low first round pick? Well, what happened was we missed the playoffs by one game behind Tennessee, and unfortunately we weren't paying attention to the fine print, because in this XFF league, the non-playoff team with the highest point totals pretty much get the highest picks when it comes to the draft. And that pick that I traded out essentially was the number 2 pick overall. So when I thought about that, I said, hindsight, I could have easily had either Melvin Gordon, Todd Gurley, or my guy, Amari Cooper, if I would have kept that pick. So going forward, I'm starting now to covet my number 1 picks, because I feel number 1 and maybe number 2nd round, but definitely number 1, in a good draft, you're able to acquire some good talent that could definitely be on your team for years to come. So that's why once that offer came and I was able to acquire Tennessee's 1 and still keeping my 1, I figure, hey, I'll always have a chance to grab some young up-and-coming talent that could possibly be on my roster in 3 to 5 years.
Makes, I agree. I feel even 3, 4s, 5s. I mean, you can definitely go ahead and pull down some quality players there. I want to talk real quickly about the commiss show. Just kind of how does the creative process work on that? Does he call you up and say, hey, show's on, let's do it? Does he send you a script, questions, topics? Take us through the creative side of the flagship show of the XFF real quick.
Commiss show is basically unscripted. We go from week to week. We never know. I think when we first did it, maybe like last year sometimes the discussion will if we talk right before the show goes on air, it's like, hey, we don't have anything right now, but let's just let it flow. And then after we get into the groove, we start to get the feel of what's going on the message board and what the other owners are calling about. Or sometimes trade, like for example, I don't want to put D. Jordan on the spot, but you know, we start to talk about the New York Jets and his trade strategy. Is he looking to tank? What's going on with his team? Is he going to be here the next 2 years? And then we get these breaking deals that take place where DeAndre Levy is traded for Doug Williams, the rights to Doug Williams. I don't know. So you have these different trades that go on that spur on the conversation and take the conversation to a different level. But basically, for the most part, it's a totally unscripted show.
Okay, I'm going to get you out on this. What is the #1 beer drinking and kickoff show in the XFF?
Got to be Rippin' and Tearin'. Everything. I mean, Rippin' and Tearin'. You got to be. I don't even think you have to be. You can't be in your right mind to even produce this type of show because I mean, from the sound bites to the infomercials. I mean, you need to have your own show on Comedy Central or somewhere. Maybe you need to take over for what's that show? Peel. What's his name? Something in Peel.
Oh, Key and Peele?
Yeah, you gotta have your own sitcom. I mean, you had me dying the first couple of segments where you were doing your own public service announcement. This guy is, but it's creative. I mean, because I really haven't heard a show where you've actually come up with your own script. And I think it's quite impressive. So I can imagine if you could do that, what your personality is. And or I don't know, are you an aspiring actor? Are you looking to do anything in that realm? I mean, do you have that Eddie Murphy in you, that Coming to America where you're able to hold down 5 to 10 different roles within one film?
My wife says that I should have been an actor, and why don't we have any money?
I mean, it's never too late. Never too late. You can go do some pro bono work. Just get your name out there and see what happens from there.
I appreciate it, man. I do like to do some writing on the side, so you never know. So that has been Al with the Houston Texans. Al, thank you very much for being a part of the show, and we will be back. We will be back right after this.
The force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. My sister has it. You have that power too.
New York, 1997. The entire city is a walled, maximum security prison. The bridges are mined. The rivers are patrolled. And the United States Police Force has everything under control. Escape from New York, the high adventure of the future. One man must go in where no man has ever gotten out. And if he comes back alone, his nightmare has just begun.
Who are you?
John Carpenter's Escape from New York.
Heard you were dead.
This stuff is like gold around here, you know.
Hold on. John Carpenter's Escape from New York. The greatest escape of them all is about to blow the future apart.
MacGyver's called in to kill order. Hawk and Ernest Borgnine sweep into the town, blowing up everything in sight. The Muppets in opposite areas of the village fire up their high-tech Google Hangouts to coordinate their counterattack. But shit keeps blacking out and turning into a bunch of "can you see me? I can see you, but I can't hear you. Can you hear me?" and me, because that's all that Beaker says. The educated guesses crew are blown to smithereens along with the sacrifices of the A-Team and MacGyver. Magnum blazes in with his Ferrari and scoops up the jar containing Dan's brain and speeds off to return it to the indie owner. Later, he parties with hot models on Higgins' estate. And that, XFF, is how you string 4 concepts together poorly and make a Hollywood franchise. Call me Michael Bay. All right, welcome back to the show. Does anyone think that that new Star Wars movie is going to be the shit? You know, you may have grown up on the prequel trilogies. I'm talking to you, Jacksonville. There's your shout out, guy. If you grew up on that crap, you need to just let it go, okay? Go back and watch the old trilogy, because that's classic. And I think JJ is going to do this right. I also had a little escape for New York from my boy Philly John. I've been giving him a lot of shit the last couple of shows, and I absolutely mean it. But every now and again, I get a soft spot for the kid. He's up there snacking on asbestos in Syracuse. It's a tough life. You ever put asbestos between 2 pieces of bread with a little mayo and mustard? I haven't, but he lives off of it. So let's review. So far, we've talked about AFC versus NFC. That debate is dead. We have talked about your plan going forward in a motivational speech from Al Pacino Raven. Okay? We have had the squeaking chipmunk himself, Al, on the show, talking about his stuff. We've had some great commercials. We've got a great trilogy going that apparently has a 4th installment. Lucky you guys. And now it's time to talk about something more based in stats. I could just see Minnesota Josh's ears picking up. He's like, hey, guess what, guy? I didn't study too hard for this, because I never do. All right? But we're going to talk about who's going 3-0 and who's going 0-3. Now, there'll be plenty of you that go 2-1 and 1-2. These are the teams that I think are going to go 3-0 and 0-3. Okay? And my crack analysis was, Josh is sitting, drinking a beer. You might want to take a shot for this guy. Okay? I used no analytics. I did not research anything online. In fact, I didn't even look at your rosters, because I've been looking at your rosters for the last 9 months. I'm going off gut feel. And I know that I'll have 2 surprise 0-3s, and I'll probably have a few surprise 3-0s. And even though we know it means nothing, it'll make you feel good to think that El Raven thinks you could be 3-0. And it'll make you feel sad inside. Just a little sad. You're sitting here listening to the show. You're like, this guy, he's a dick. But I like his show. It's original. Highest rated show on XFF when drinking. Okay? We're going for that flagship title, Kamish. Flagship. I don't think I'll ever get it because you kind of control that monkeyer. But one day we will be live whenever Blog Talk gets their shit together. So, without further ado, here are El Raven's 3-0 teams. I'm going to start in the NFC North. And I'm going to stick by my dark horse season prediction and call the Detroit Lions a 3-0 team. They face Chicago, San Diego, and Minnesota. Now, that is not an easy matchup. But given the makeup of his particular roster, I feel that week 1, he has the ability to pull off all 3. Now, could Minnesota go ahead and beat him? Absolutely possible. But I'm sticking with my guns on this one. The Detroit Lions, the Milton Lumberjack, Brian, the guy we never hear from, is 3-0. My number 2 3-0 team in 2015 is the squeaking chipmunk himself, the Houston Texans. Now, I don't know if he's going 7-0, but he's got Atlanta and Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville, I feel, is sneaky dangerous, but I think that Al has the better team early on. He's got the power players. So I'm going to give this first matchup to Al. Okay? So he's 2-0. His third matchup is against Indy Dan. Much more difficult. But I just don't have the confidence in Dan to set his best lineup until I see him set his best lineup. He might even trade his best lineup at the last second to Denver. So, Squeaky Chipmunk, you're 3-0. Staying in, okay, all right. Now, the Dark Horse pieces were supposed to go ahead and be 8 teams, but with all the movement, I didn't realize early on in the offseason how crazy the makeup of this league was going to be. But one team that I've had circled as a dark horse all along has been Kansas City Kurt and the Chiefs. Now, he opens with San Diego. Okay, poor San Diego, he's getting beat up on. And Denver and Minnesota. So basically what I'm saying is right now, Minnesota's 1-2. Okay? I can feel Josh cursing at the screen right now. Buddy, I don't know what it is, why it always works out that way, but this is more about sticking with a preseason prediction for me. I feel like Denver's team is susceptible the first couple games with Bell out. Once again, Josh's team easily could win this game. But I'm going to go with Kurt, and I don't even think he has any running backs. Who the hell has he got? Oh, he's got Jamal Charles. All right. Anyway, Kurt, 3-0. Write it down. Probably wrong. This next one. Definitely got to take a drink for this one. My next 3-0 team, as much as it pains me, is the New York Jets. Oh, El Raven, are you freaking nuts? Well, he opens against New England and the Giants. The Giants, they got problems. New England is actually kind of one of my sleeper teams, but he just doesn't have enough depth. If Jesse's team comes out of the gates and performs the way that it should, even without Jordy Nelson, he should beat those two teams. Which leaves us with what I think is probably our most intriguing matchup of week 1, Miami versus the Jets. Now, Miami was not able to go ahead and get over that hump last year, and he has spent the entire offseason building his roster to defeat the Jets. And I think he could win this game. Sort of like I think Minnesota could win those other 2 games, I do think that Miami could win these games. But A lot of Miami's team is predicated off of injury, and then just today, David Cobb got assigned to injured reserve. It's just sort of too early for the Miami team. I feel that as the season goes on, the Miami team is going to get stronger. I still think the Miami team is going to win the division, and I look forward to the second matchup between the two of them. But today, the New York Jets start 3-0. Next up, preseason favorite, the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders open with San Diego. Well, Chris, I guess I know what list you ended up on. Then he has Denver, who he's got to beat. He's got to beat Denver while he's down. If he loses to Denver now, it is going to haunt him at the back end of the season when divisional matchups take place again. And then he has Green Bay. I've been on record all season saying that 10-6 Green Bay team is exactly the lightning in a bottle that you want to catch as you enter the playoffs. He entered the playoffs as a 10-6 team. He just edged out the Chicago franchise. He wins a couple of matchups, and he comes within one game of the Super Bowl. If he doesn't run into that buzzsaw of Carolina, if Carolina loses the prior week, Green Bay very easily could have been the NFC North representative. That being said, this team that he is fielding this year is just not as strong. I don't think that, it took a 4-set pickup. And so I'm going with my preseason favorite, number 1 overall, Brian in Oakland at 3-0. My next 3-0 team, Billy John. I know what you guys are all saying. You fucking suck up. Hey, guess what? Okay, I'm a fan of Winning You're In. Did you guys listen to that show this week? Billy John was on point. When John just scribbles some notes and comes to the table, he's the best. John, do not go ahead and try to mimic anyone's show, add anything else into your show. Just come, have your takes, and do your show. It was awesome. It was fun. I was listening. You caught me off guard when you threw me on the air. But I've got you at 3-0 for this reason. You open with Buffalo and Dallas, 2 weaker teams. I mean, if one of those teams beats you, dude, you're in trouble, and it's like their fucking Super Bowl. And you've got to beat Kamish. You have to put him down the first game. If you do not do that, you are not going to capture this division. You have to beat him both times. Both times, you have to do it. Billy John, 3-0. The last Winning You're In show was awesome. He's your NFC representative. I'll be excited to see what kind of a comeback he's got for me. My 6th, I've got 7. My 6th 3-0 starting franchise. I'm not really sure what country he's in. I think it's in Brazil, but we got Carlos. Hashtag 3-0. Okay? Carlos and the San Francisco 49ers, this is their first 3 games. Seattle Ron. Yeah, let that sink in. The Cleveland Browns. And the Arizona Cardinals, who have been absolutely traumatized by Luke's rant. Like, I can't believe that we haven't heard from Mac when Luke went on the Commish show and absolutely dropped bombs on him. It was Mike Tyson Spinks. What's the other guy eating? I don't know. Probably soup, because his jaw's broken. Mac, you're in trouble. You're in deep, deep trouble. San Francisco 49ers. Carlos, 3-0. And your lucky number 7, 3-0 team. I will never, ever. Do you guys have a pen and paper? Do you have maybe an engraver where you could go ahead and put this inside your fucking skull? I will never, even if I think I'm going to get murdered And I don't look at this schedule and think I'm going to get murdered, but I will never pick against myself. I open with Mac and the Cardinals, already talked about him. We open up with Cleveland Decker. That's a goddamn train wreck over there. And then Cincinnati, the defending NFC North champion. If the Baltimore Ravens are going to make a statement in this league, they have got to beat the Bengals out of the gate. Do we have the guns to do it? I think so. Does he have the guns to go ahead and beat me? Absolutely. It's gonna be close. The race between us and, based on schedule, I might even figure in silly little Spencer over there, but I'm not too crazy about it. His team. He's a good guy. His team. But I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens 3-0. So there you got it. They're your 3-0 teams. Now you're asking yourself, oh, well, if those are the 3-0 teams, who's 0-3? Well, let me digest. Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. You guys got your cocktails? Take a drink.
Hey, we all know how we're gonna die, baby. We're gonna crash and burn.
The number one 0-3 team, let's go back to the desert and call them what they are. The Arizona Cardinals, they open with St. Louis, Baltimore, and San Francisco. You're 0-3, dude. You're 0-3. Luke was so right. Asleep at the wheel was probably the nicest thing anyone's ever said to you. The Arizona Cardinals open at 0-3. Mac, I want to have you on the show. I want to hear your rebuttal. This hurts because Bunsen and his wallpaper of books seems like a really nice guy. And I actually don't hate his team, but he opens with the Dolphins, the Eagles, and a sneaky good New England team. I think that New England team is 8-8, and I think that this is definitely one of the games that they win. So Travis and the Buffalo Bills open at 0-3. Next up, I've been talking about, I've mentioned his name 3 times already, okay? He's given himself a self-high five. Nice guest, good guy. Chris, San Diego. You open with Oakland, Detroit, and KC. It's brutal for your roster. I actually think that you put up a pretty decent fight, and there's a game in there that I see, like, I feel you could steal the KC game. I don't think you beat Oakland and Detroit, period. But you're 0-3, dude. That's how you start your season. And so I hope you've been listening to the whole show because those messages were directed directly at you. Not just you, but at you. All right, and my 2 surprise 0-3s. This is not for controversy. This is because I did 3 to 5 minutes of analysis, Josh. 3 to 5 minutes, dude. And where you come up with 300-point players help you win games, I come up with loss. Okay. My 4th 3-0 team. He's the man who started it all. The commissioner himself, the Washington Redskins. He opens with Philadelphia and Miami. I have Miami probably, already losing to the Jets. I don't think that he goes 1-2. He's 2-1. Philadelphia has got to win this game. Already said it. And then you have the New York Giants. Now, this is easily a coin flip. But when I was looking through, I just felt like, look, I've spent 7 to 10 seconds of analysis on this, and I have a clear picture. Clear picture. The New York Giants are going to upset the commish. They're going to go on the air, and the commish is going to be the only winless team. He's going to have the squeaking chipmunk Al at 3-0, and G. Jordan's probably sitting at 1-2 with that one win over there. And they're going to be talking disaster time. So, commish, I hope you've been listening to the show because I've laid out a plan for you. Okay? And it says don't give up. Don't give up, commish. And my number 5 0-3 team. He faces Minnesota, Oakland, and New bitter rival, the Chicago Bears. Who? Have you put it together, XFF? I'll give you 5 seconds. Dun 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 dun. Green Berry. 0-3. Let's see how much trash you're talking, bud, when you're 0-3. The big upset here is not Minnesota or Oakland. It's Chicago. The Chicago Bears, dude. I'm calling it. Upset of the week. The Chicago Bears over Green Bay. You could say the reviews are in, and he's Rotten Tomatoes. The Rip It and Tearin' Kickoff Show is brought to you in part by the Decker Effect. I'm gathering specialists for a mission in 2018. It's not going to be easy. I'm not very good at this. The chances of winning are slim. I mean, ever. Ron. Decker, but you're dead. I killed 58% of you. Ah! Picking up something on the long-range scanner. Unidentified team. It's not the Jets. Brace for a massive beating. The Browns were left for dead, and then they got Decker. Sure, his top picks are burning a hole in his pocket. Sure, he's all about upside, but this kid is lost. In 2018, experience the Decker effect. The Decker effect is not endorsed by the XFF or any decent GM around the league.
Miramax Films is proud to present one of the most celebrated motion pictures of the year. The winner of the 1994 Palme d'Or, the best picture of the Cannes Film Festival.
Come on, let's get in character. Why are you so interested in Big Man's wife? Well, he's going out of town in Florida, and he asked me if I'd take care of her while he's gone. Take care of her? No, man. Just show her a good time, make sure she don't get lonely. Girl, you see, this is a moral test of oneself.
I do believe Marcellus, my husband, your boss, told you to take me out and do whatever I wanted.
Whether or not you can maintain loyalty.
Night of the fight, you may feel a slight sting. Pride only hurts, it never helps. In the fifth, your ass goes down.
I have to say, play with matches, you get burned.
We should have shotguns for this kind of deal.
We're in a lot of danger, aren't we?
I'm prepared to scout the earth for that moment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Get down, get down.
You got a corpse in a car, minus a head in the garage. Take me to it.
Don't you hate that?
Hey, what?
Uncomfortable silences.
John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Amanda Plummer, Maria de Medeiros, Bing Rames, Eric Stoltz, Rosanna Arquette, Christopher Walken, and Bruce Willis.
Looking at something, friend? Ain't my friend, Luca.
Die, you mother!
A new film directed by Quentin Tarantino. Hulk. fiction.
You really thinking about quitting?
Most definitely.
What you gonna do then?
Basically, I'm just gonna walk the earth.
What you mean walk the earth?
You know, like Kane in Kung Fu.
For centuries, the Society of the Black Dragon has sanctioned an ancient rite of combat, known as the Kumite, open only to the world's most lethal warriors. It has never been won by a Westerner.
You are not Japanese.
I can do it. Now, for the first time, the true story of America's super agent, Frank Dukes, can be revealed.
Uncle Sam can't afford to let you get hurt.
I'm going to Hong Kong.
Frank is going to fight in the Kumite, and we're here to stop him.
An awesome human weapon.
It hurts me just looking at it.
Who infiltrates the Chinese underworld.
I did not come this far to stop now.
Take it.
To enter a forbidden competition.
Couldn't you just get me in?
Strict rules, no press.
You telling me you never break rules?
Where every fighting style, every worthy opponent, every deadly technique clash in savage combat.
Time to separate the men from the boys.
And only one will triumph.
Now I break you.
International martial arts sensation Jean-Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport, the true story of the ultimate champion.
All right, welcome back to Rippin' and Tearin'. I'm very excited to go ahead and have co-host and creator of the TMI show, Kansas City Kurt, with me to talk a topic that is beloved to all of us, Madden 2016, and a little history in that game. Kurt, how's it going, man?
Woo! It's Ric Flair, baby.
All right, Ric Flair. Let's talk a little history. Matt Kurt, Madden. I'm going to let you start this since you're pretty much, history's written by the victors. So take it away.
Let's just start with what you think my overall win-loss record is versus you. What do you think that is?
A lucky number. I have two lucky numbers, 2 and 17, and I know I've won more than 2%, so I'm going to go with 17%. I've won 17% of our matchups. I feel good about that number.
And we probably played 400, 500 times total?
I'd say probably closer to 1,000. I hate your face.
That is pretty true. I mean, we played tons on Sunday. So what? You came over my place. We're in 1998, 99. We're playing on my one console.
I've got.
And then eventually we go to online, right?
Yeah. I think I still have Steve Young when that bastard Lawrence Phillips, the murderer, got him a concussion, and you were playing with before Kurt Warner, whoever that was.
Well, I was playing with the Rams, and before Kurt Warner was Trent Green, just for a small, short period of time. And then Kurt Warner, he got that boost in 2000. So the Rams teams were exceptionally good 2000, 2001, 2002. Marshall Faulk was on the cover. And then after that is really when we started getting into it. So you always play San Francisco. That's your home team. That's where you're from. Your family illegally immigrated a bunch of years ago and drove straight to the Bay Area, right?
Dude, they took a U-Haul all the way from Central Mexico, you son of a bitch.
So, for the most part, we've always played Rams San Francisco, but there was a point a couple years ago, and you gave up. And it was the highest ranked 49er team that you've ever even been able to play. I think it was 2011. It was the 2012 Madden. Kaepernick was ranked up there. I think Kaepernick was the quarterback. You had this ultimate team. They were all 90s and above. Your defense was amazing. But what happened just a few months into playing that game? You remember?
There was some feature called Random Select that I really wanted to get into because I'm a big feature guy.
So my little Rams team that was ranked like a 76, and your 90 ranked San Francisco 49ers, they couldn't beat my lowly Rams. So you said, I want to go random, right? You remember? I remember. All right. So we start going random, and I'm getting teams like Baltimore, New England. I'm getting some pretty good teams here. And then do you remember what new rule you made after that?
You could only be the Redskins?
That's pretty much it. You would only allow me to play a team that was like rank 80 or below. That was sweet, man. I'm glad I paid $60 for this game to play like Washington and Cleveland and the Rams every year.
You know what? I mean, you're lucky I didn't make you serve a 4-game suspension. So, you know.
All right, hey, so what do you think of the new Madden? We got this new one. You and I have played it, 4 or 5 times online? Not as often as much, because it feels real similar to 15, I think. But we're also busy with the XFF and all these drafts. But what do you think so far of the new one?
5 different ways to throw a pass, 3 different ways to catch a ball. I think they kind of overcomplicated things just to go ahead and try to make the game feel fresh. That's their feature this year. The Niners are not as...
No, you're forgetting that the crowd has white towels now.
The crowd does have white towels. It is true. I mean, in general, it's pretty much the same game as last year outside of those mechanics. Running seems a little bit harder. Catching and offense is pretty insane. Even online in the games that I've done, I've scored a lot of points, but I've also thrown a lot of interceptions. So I think defensively, that interception deal is really up there. But, I mean, if I had to pick between last year's game and this year's game, I'd probably give a nod to last year's game just overall.
Wow. I think it's improved enough to justify this year's play. $60, sure, we'll play it enough. The features of the catching, it seems like they did accentuate that. My scores online are higher, but our scores together are lower. I don't know what that means.
Our scores against each other are always lower, though. I mean, that's what the league doesn't understand is you may be 500 and like 90, not even 92. I'm giving myself too much. You might be like 930 and 70 against me, but those 930 victories, 910 of them came by like 3 to 7 points. Just excruciating, painful.
I tell everybody that I let the computer kind of play defense sometimes, or I'll walk away from the controller and you'll hear it vibrating on the table, and then I come back and you're like, so you're not even playing? Oh no, I'm playing.
Which is even that much more fucking frustrating when I lose by 3. So it's kind of like you're dicking me around, and so
kind of like,
yeah.
No, that I am purposely dicking around.
It's cool because I took a picture of you and I put it with the Madden 2015 disc, and then I killed a chicken over the top of it.
You leave that in. So, you know what I did with my Madden 16 cover? I took a picture of Jesse and the Jets and you and the Ravens, and I put you right on the cover together because he invited us into the Madden franchise, and I mean we've been playing tons. Have you played Jesse yet?
Jesse invited me to a franchise about 2 weeks ago, and that's where we sit.
Sounds like every other time you've been invited or invite Jesse to something.
Yeah, it's pretty much, I mean, when I saw who was running the league, I was all, yep, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I see some guys playing quite a bit. I want to go heads up. That's what I like to do. It's easier. You see somebody online, let's just go heads up. take a team or let's do random, and then maybe we should throw a tournament together or something. But Green Bay is online. Jacksonville, I see, is online. Pittsburgh's online. I see those dudes randomly on there.
Well,
I haven't invited anybody in. We haven't broken that I don't know, that line yet. I don't know why.
Okay, and I want to wrap this up on that. So Jesse apparently beat Jackie Chan in a 2-minute game when Jackie was 2 feet shorter, couldn't see over, and was halfway drunk with one eye open.
Oh, you mean Green Bay when he was talking about beating that dude from the MTV show?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Greenberry. So Green Trash, he seems to have a lot of confidence. And so here's my question. Could you beat Greenberry 2 out of 3 5-minute quarters, any team you want to play, all Madden setting?
And that's why my sports jacket costs $800 and his costs $200. Woo! The answer is hell yeah!
Dude, jet flying, models, high flying. I don't even know how Ric Flair does it, but
I don't know either, man. I like it. I'll work on that.
You should work on that, because there it is. There's the challenge, Greenberry. Go ahead, take on Kurt, and if you lose to him, you can come beat up on me, because there's too many buttons and I got too many freaking beers in my fingertips. Kurt, thank you very much for being a part of the Rippin' and Tearing Kickoff Show, talking a little Madden, and we will be right back.
Jamaican gangs known as posses are now dominating the American drug trade.
In Above the Law, he got tough.
Who's that?
John Hatcher, DEA.
In Hard to Kill, he got even.
This is not the time for you to walk out on me. I've had enough. He thinks he's retired.
He still looks functional to me.
Now, the man with the short fuse is marked for death.
I want you to meet my sister, Goddess of Fire.
Steven Seagal is John Hatcher.
He's dead. And he don't even know it.
A good cop.
Your family has been marked.
In a bad mood.
He said he'd kill us both.
I don't think he's gonna get the chance.
What are you planning to do?
I'm gonna take out the posse. One thought he was invincible. The other thought he could fly. They were both wrong. Who do you fear? Him or me? I'm gonna deliver you into the light.
Steven Seagal is marked for death.
It's my silent partner.
But this time, he's bringing out the big guns. Steven Seagal, marked for death.
Are you some kind of cop?
Nah, I'm just a concerned citizen.
We're about to complete a great quest. The Holy Grail, Dr. Jones.
Oh, rats.
This is it. Look, the shield is the second marker. We found it.
Indiana Jones is on the quest of a lifetime. But for some adventures, one Jones is not enough.
Dad? Junior? Don't call me that, please.
Follow me! I know the way! A race across 3 continents.
And in this sort of race, there's no silver medal for finishing second.
Hang on, Dad, we're going in!
Into the homeland of the enemy.
Nazis. I hate these guys. Our situation has not improved.
In his search for the Holy Grail.
How dare you kiss me?
Are you crazy? Don't go between them!
Go between them, are you crazy?
Where's my father?
In the belly of that steel beast.
Dad! Junior! You call this archaeology? The quest for the Grail is not archaeology. It's a race against evil.
Germany has declared war on the Jones boys.
Those people are trying to kill us.
I know, Dad!
It's a new experience for me.
Happens to me all the time.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Have the adventure of your life, keeping up with the Joneses.
XFF, welcome back. It has been a pleasure. Everything I've done this entire off-season concerning this show has been kind of culminating towards a show. This was a long show. It was not easy to put together. I definitely wanted to do it live. I had it laid out live, and when we ran into the issues with Blog Talk, it really kind of threw a wrench in my system, and I didn't have a lot of time this week to go ahead and work through the different aspects of doing a recorded show. I know you guys think that, oh, it's recorded, it's easy. Actually, it's not. There's a lot of shit that goes on behind the scenes that you guys don't know, and it makes it quite a bit of work. I've spent my entire Sunday, since 9 o'clock this morning, it's 5:33 right now, putting this show together. And as I'm recording it, I still actually have one more piece to go ahead and add in. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope you know what all the creators put behind everything. I mean, every other week, Kamish is putting in a 2-hour show. Luke's got a big show coming up in a couple of days. I want to go ahead and promote that. He has given me insight into who he is bringing onto the show. He has several interviews, including a very big special guest I think that everybody will be really stoked to go ahead and have on. His show is different than mine. It brings a lot of facts. It's a smart show. This is not a smart show. This is not a smart show. You can't drink and make this show and call it smart, okay? But it's a fun show. So, Luke, big show coming up in a couple of days. I know that Philly John has another show coming up. He's going to do his NFC retort. I hope that you bring it, Philly John, okay? I know you will. And the Educated Guesses guy, the Educated Guesses guys, I've given them, I played with them a lot this episode. I really actually do enjoy the 3-man booth. I think that Spencer, Travis, and Grizzly Adams are really trying to bring their show up. They said that it's going to take a different spin going forward. I'm looking forward to it. You guys need to trim that show down, okay? A longer show once in a while is okay, a la this show. But you need to go ahead and trim it down a lot. There's a lot of content going on. I want to thank Al, the Squeaking Chipmunk, for being part of the show. I want to thank Kurt for coming in and talking some Madden. We all enjoy the game. We're all here to have fun, and that was a fun segment to go ahead and roll with him. And I'm going to get out on this. Luke came on to the Kamish show and layeth the smacketh down on Mac. I mean, he backhanded him. He slapped him so hard it felt like that Mac had kissed a freight train. Which brings me to my closing rant. Cincinnati Bengals, you are the defending champion of the North. Yet your big move this entire offseason has been to collect all the Denver running backs. Good for you. You're a nice guy, bud. I don't want that. I want my division rival to be barking at me as much as I'm barking at him. You should have struck me down the day I stepped foot into this league. Because until I do otherwise, the North is your territory. Instead, You sat back and you watched as I built a team strong enough to defeat yours. You seem to be okay with me winning, and that indifference will be your undoing. Maybe you should go ahead and co-manage a team while you run the behind-the-scenes stuff, because maybe your focus isn't where it should be. Your Ryan Tannehill, C.J. Anderson, West, Landry, Matthews, and Stills cannot defeat my Drew Brees, Forsett, Ellington, Gordon, Green, Smith wrecking ball. My defense is beast. Your defense is shit. Beast shit. Now you can pick a beast. Wildebeest, Sasquatch, beast, beer. Dog beast. I got plenty of those. Now I hope you've listened closely today, Ja, because the fact of the matter is that you're going to find yourself on the wrong side of the playoffs. XFF, it has been awesome. I hope this show has helped hype you for the 2015 season. I hope you laughed. I hope you cried. And I hope you know that I'm going to shoot all these fucking dogs. And you've also gotten rid of $65. The 2015 season is amongst us. Thanks for listening, and good night.